Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be diving into the Venus houses. Yes, Venus through all of the houses. Now, before we do get into this, please make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And let me know your Venus house, right? Where is Venus within your chart? My Venus, Venus within my chart is in Capricorn in the 5th house. And it's also conjunct Neptune. I just want to say that Neptune and Venus are the same degree. Also, I want to mention here that watch the Venus through the signs video first for the how. Okay, so that's going to show you the how in relation to Venus. And then this video is more the where. So we're going to be exploring where you love. But we're going to switch things up in comparison to the previous video. So in the previous one, where we explored Venus through the signs, we looked at how you love and attract. But here we're going to look at where you love and make money. So my thought process with this is there is the Taurus side of Venus and there's the Libra side of Venus. Libra is more of that social love connection quality, right? The air sign. And then Taurus is more of that sensual, grounded, earthy, material side of Venus. Okay, it's an earth sign. Yes, so that's what we're going to do today. So with that being said, Venus through the houses. Okay. Now, if you are interested in booking a reading with me, you can do so by going to hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find my practical astrology ebooks guide, cheat sheets, all that good stuff over there. Plus, I want to say thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon for all of your support. I appreciate you. And for more information about Venus in astrology as a whole, check out my podcast, the Cosmic Check-In Podcast. The episode is the number 11, Venus in Astrology, Self-Worth, Money, and Beauty. Okay, so we want to think about this overview. And if you missed this, so in the Venus through the signs video, I talked in more detail about love languages. So I'm not really going to touch on that today, but what I will say is we're going to sort of explore more about value. So Venus looks at how and where you love. Of course, it can point toward your love language. So that's why it's important to watch Venus through the signs, because I really did explore the love languages there. But Venus is also about what and who do you value. So that's something that we're going to dive into today. And what I further want to mention about this is a person's values refer to their core beliefs that guide them through their life. Such principles play a role in shaping their behavior and their personality traits. So our values, you see, can influence our relationships, our goals, our spending habits, right? Money, earnings, materials, things like this. And we begin forming our value system from a rather young age. So this is why it's important to explore the second house in your birth chart, because the second house is related to your values. What do you value about yourself, about other people, and what, how were these things shaped basically from a young age? Yes, Venus is so much about this stuff. And then, of course, Venus is about money. It's about our physical security, our resources, the ideal relationships, the types of qualities that we are attracted to in others, and even what makes us attractive, what makes us beautiful, right? Venus is about beauty. It's about socializing, pleasure, comfort. Our creativity as well is also shown via Venus. And then self-worth, of course, the self-worth piece and the self-esteem piece. So it's really important to locate Venus within the chart because it's going to show you these things. And with self-worth, that's also where exploring the second house can be important. Because if we do not feel worthy from within, then there can be blockages, right? There can be these challenges to do with attracting, right? And feeling loved, being lovable, loving ourselves. Naturally, there's more to this because the sun in astrology is also tied to self-love, which we will get to the sun eventually within this series. Okay, so now we have explored some information about Venus. Let's get into your houses. Venus through the houses. Okay. Venus in the first house. If you have Venus in the first house, your persona is shaped by your desires to be liked. You value being liked for how you behave and how you present yourself. You might be somewhat conscious of how you come across or conscious of the relationship between you and others. When entering new situations, you seek to make a great first impression. And hey, you probably do. You can be charming, you can be pleasing, and you can be ever so courteous. Very thoughtful, perhaps quite sweet. There is a part of you that sets out to create a harmonious atmosphere. You might do this by trying to make others feel comfortable or by accommodating them, right? And many people might view you as attractive, as kind, social. You could have this glow about you. Perhaps you even play the role of the mediator or the in-between person. You want everyone to get along. Naturally, there is more to this because we want to think about the sign. So, what sign is Venus in the first house? So, if Venus is in Scorpio in the first house, these matters to do with being pleasing or courteous and hey, cooperative. Sure, you can do so, but you will feel very, very deeply and very intensely about others maybe disrespecting you, or you can be quite, to the point with people, right? Very straightforward and direct with them. Or let's say Venus is in, let's go with Taurus, right? You may come across as quite steady, sensual, grounded, earthy. And there is a part of you then with Venus and Taurus where you can be pleasing, but you also stay true to your values, right? Your core values and your beliefs. This is what we were exploring there to do with values, okay? So there is that. And in terms of love, okay, we were saying that the Venus sign is how you love, and then the house is where you love. Well, in this regard, you may really come to love yourself, really come to value the person that you are. You may really love and value your aims and your goals for the future. There's a lot of thought that goes into these things. And in terms of how you make money, well, it could very well be that you earn money via law, counseling, the mediator stuff, as previously mentioned. You could earn money via being a model, working within the fashion industry, the beauty industry, working with textures, aesthetics, products, maybe setting up your own business. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest vanity and using manipulation to get others on your side. Insecurity and seeking approval from others are likely. Bringing awareness to these qualities, of course, can be helpful. I also want to say, with the money stuff, again, keep in mind which sign Venus is in for more information. And if you have a Taurus rising or a Libra rising, you may relate somewhat to what I was just saying there, okay? But what you want to think about, and this is going to be a theme for all of the houses, what you want to think about is how the Taurus side of Venus is more about materials, being grounded, and feeling comfortable. And then the Libra side of Venus, it's more about that social side. But hey, there's also elements of aesthetic there too. But it's more diplomatic, social. And if you have a Taurus rising or a Libra rising, you want to locate Venus. Where is Venus within the chart? Venus is going to be your chart ruler. And so make sure to locate Venus for more information and then relate it back to the first house. Okay? All right, let's now move on to Venus in the second house. If you have Venus in the second house, your personal resources and income are shaped by your appreciation for materials, indulgence, and all things beautiful. You value your comforts, what you own, and how you earn a living. You may even desire a rather attractive lifestyle. Basically here, you know what you like and you're willing to put in the time to get it, but to also sustain it. Beauty, music, art, design, and using great social skills may contribute to your income actually, right? So to come at this via the financial side of things, yes, these skills that you possess can very well help you and assist you. And perhaps you can be creative. You are rather artistic. Your talents could very well include the likes of decorating, design, fashion, or photography. And perhaps you are generous with your resources and you are also thankful for what you have. Now, again, we want to think about which sign Venus is in. So the sign is going to show the how, and then Venus being in the second house is the where. So let's say Venus is in Libra. There may be a greater focus on the aesthetics, decorating, interior design, fashion, photography, these things, being creative, being artistic. The music side of things, the beauty side of things, earning money via being a beautician, for example, or a fashion designer, or earning money via design there. But let's say Venus is in Leo. There could be a greater focus there on being a leader or earning money via art, your creativity, or drama, entertainment, performance, But again, with the leadership stuff, yeah, it could very well be that you care strongly about really being recognized and making an impact. And with Venus and Leo, you could perhaps be very generous, very generous and very expressive too. So in terms of where you love, right, there may very well be this love for earning, right? There's this love for really sustaining and maintaining the lifestyle that you desire. And of course, again, with the sign, your lifestyle could, if you've got Venus and Leo, it could perhaps be a bit more luxurious, let's just say. But then if Venus is in Capricorn, maybe it's not so luxurious, but it's more about quality. Or if Venus is in Virgo, maybe it's a bit more simplified, right? Not so dramatic, if you will. So yes, remember, Venus is going to show, the Venus sign is going to show the how there. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest unnecessary spending. You might try to impress others with what you own as a way to fill a void. So, bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful. Plus, if you have either Taurus or Libra ruling the second house cusp, you may very well relate to some of the information that I just said, but you want to explore, okay, where is Venus within the chart? You got to locate Venus and then bring it back to the second house. So the location of Venus will provide you with more information. Moving on to Venus in, Venus in the third house. If you have Venus in the third house, your attitudes toward learning are shaped by your love for education, communication, and exchanging ideas. You may value the likes of learning, reading, researching, writing, speaking, anything connected to informing yourself. You also value informing others and striking up interesting discussions and conversations. So you may bounce your ideas off your friends, off your relatives, your peers, your classmates. Perhaps you were even rather social in school. Okay, so thinking about how the third house is related to your early schooling, you could have been popular, you could have been well liked, quite social with your classmates, etc. And you can be charming and expressive with your words. It's also likely that you value the relationship you have with your siblings, your cousins, your classmates, hey, even your neighbors. You may get along pretty well with your neighbors, or maybe that's important to you, right? To get along with these people within the sort of local environment. Perhaps you give the best and the most genuine compliments as well. Naturally, we want to think about the sign Venus is in, because the sign is going to show the how, and then the house is going to show the where. So let's say Venus is in Pisces, okay? You might romanticize your sort of local environment, or you might sort of project your own visions and fantasies onto conversations, or you might be highly intuitive, very intuitive, picking up on other people's sort of unconscious, if you will, and what they're not really communicating, reading between the lines a little bit. Venus in Scorpio can also suggest this reading between the lines type of dynamic. But then let's say, let's go with Venus in Scorpio there could be greater protection involved, greater suspicion involved, or just you want to go deeper. You want to go beyond the superficial. Venus in Pisces can also suggest this, I'll say that. Yes, there's more of an emotional pull, let's just say, and that depth, valuing that depth. Now, as for love, as I was saying there, yeah, this could be where you really love. It's like you love education, you love communication. So, with the high again, with the Venus signs, I mean, Venus could be in, let's go with Gemini, and there really is a love for educating yourself and gathering data and information and just learning as much as possible, right? Now, what I also want to mention is disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest rivalry when communicating or an unsettling relationship with a sibling or a classmate. Jealousy could also be present there, not necessarily from you. Still, bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful. And what I also want to say about this is, you know what, if you have Venus in the third house, you could very well earn money via your writing. Okay, you could earn money via your public speaking. Okay, speaking, teaching, reporting, podcasting, etc. Also, if you have either Taurus or Libra ruling the third house cusp in your chart, you may relate to some of the information that I just said there. But what you want to think about is, where is Venus? Okay, where is Venus within the chart? And then that's going to provide you with more information about your love for communication and exchanging ideas and so on. Okay, let's now focus on Venus in the fourth house, individuals. Venus is in the fourth house in my natal chart, but using the Placidus system. So I just want to say that. Okay, if you have Venus in the fourth house, your living situation and your private self are shaped by your emotional desires to belong and to feel protected. You value feeling safe and secure, and you seek a home that reflects this. You seek harmony amongst family members as well, and you also possess strong emotional attachments to the past. Trying to untangle yourself from unsettling family ties can be rather difficult. Still, there is a need here, okay? There is a need to put down roots in a place where you feel you belong. My goodness, I cannot say that enough. This is about protection. This is about your emotional security, your emotional safety, and feeling like you belong, okay? Feeling that you're safe. Inwardly artistic, you know how to turn a house into a home. You may love to decorate and rearrange your space. Perhaps you truly value the type of property you live in. So, like I said, Venus is in the fourth house in my chart using the Placidus system, and I relate to this. Whilst I do not own a home currently, the home or the house, I guess, that I live in, I try to make it a home. That matters to me. And I'm always adding little things to my space. And I really like to feel safe where I am. And trying to untangle myself from sort of family challenges has been quite difficult throughout my life, but I appreciate where I am now. So, Venus is in Capricorn in my chart. So, with Venus being in Capricorn, setbacks, delays. So, we'll bring it back to you. Let's say Venus is in Capricorn in the fourth house, right? Remember, Venus by this sign is going to show the how, and then the fourth house is the where. So if Venus is in Capricorn for you in the 4th house, yes, this can suggest limitations and setbacks, especially throughout your younger years, regarding the likes of property, family, setting up a home, okay? But then naturally with time, these things start to get better. But there's also those karmic elements mixed in with Capricorn. But then let's say Venus is actually in Cancer, okay? Venus is in Cancer in the 4th house. So this may really indicate that you must feel that you are safe. And you may even, provided the aspects aren't challenging, you may be more close to your family. You may prefer to get along with your family. Maybe you're quite diplomatic. You could even be, a bit of a peacekeeper within your family, especially if Venus is in Libra in the 4th house there. But yes, strong emotional ties there when it comes to family and possibly creating traditions. Traditions when it comes to family, traditions when it comes to your home. Moreover, when it comes to the love stuff, right? You may really just love the feeling of being at home. I mean, I myself, I love being at home. I spend most of my time at home. I'm very comfortable with it. I'm very comfortable in my own space. So you may relate to this. You may be more of a home bird, if you will, if you've got Venus in the 4th house. Even following on from this point, right? You could very well earn money from decorating, interior design, earning money from real estate, property, selling houses, or possibly earning money within your home, from home, essentially. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest family discord and housing issues. So bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful for you. And if you have Taurus on the 4th house cusp, a Taurus IC, Libra on the 4th house cusp, or a Libra IC, you may relate to some of the information that I just said there, right? But I want you to think about how the Taurus side of things is much more earthy, sensual, grounded material. But the Libra side of things is more social, intellectual, diplomatic, but also aesthetic. So yeah, you may relate, and then also locate where Venus is. Venus in the chart is going to provide you with more information about your 4th house. Right, let's now turn our attention to Venus in the 5th house. I have this in the whole sign system. Venus is in the 5th house with Neptune. So if you have Venus in the 5th house, your self-expression and your romantic life are shaped by your love for creativity, art, play, pleasure, possibly children too. You value the kind of relationship you have with your romantic partners and or children. And you also value what and who you create and who you create with as well. You might seek joy, laughter, and happiness, as well as a hobby that lightens you up. Maybe you express yourself in loving and cooperative ways, or you can be very kind, very sweet. You possess an innocence that can be pleasing and well accepted by others. Maybe your inner child is naturally creative and artistic. See, you genuinely love to create. And you may also be quite childlike. You may even get on very well with children because of that childlikeness. And I think as well, children can relate to you in a lot of ways. Perhaps even when it comes to love, right? You love to sort of engage with children, to play with them. I mean, I have Venus in the fifth, as I say, right? And whilst I do not have any children, I have friends that have children, and I love playing with them, especially when they're a bit more older, right? Toddler stage. You can run around the garden with them. I even have many nieces and nephews. And yes, I would say that there is this sense of play, play, fun. So you may relate if you have Venus in the fifth house. Now, again, we want to think about the sign Venus is in, because the sign is going to show the how. So in my case, Venus is in Capricorn. So again, this can look at certain setbacks, delays, especially when it came to my creativity. It really took me a long time to kind of find what works for me. And another example could be Venus being in, let's go with Aquarius. Another Saturn ruled sign, but Venus being in Aquarius could suggest that the how is more unique. It's more outside of the box, really thinking for yourself, even when it comes to children, for instance, or preferring to do things your way when it comes to your creativity and your art. Things could be more sort of technological or sci-fi, things like this. Your art, your visions could be ahead of your time. But just overall, right? If you have Venus in the fifth house, there really is just this love for creating. My goodness, I love to create. It brings me so much happiness. So for you, maybe this is truly about how your creativity, your hobbies, whatever hobby you like to do, these things light you up and just make you feel so good. Now, the sign again could be related to your hobby, right? I mean, if Venus is in Virgo, the hobby could be more about crafts, or it could be more health related, fitness related, nutrition. Or if Venus is in, let's go with Aries, this could be more about being adventurous, being very active, spontaneous, daring when it comes to love. Plus, you could very well earn money via your creations. You could have a certain hobby, right? And then you end up earning money from it. That's what I did with astrology. So, yes, there could be a hobby. There could be something that you enjoy, something that brings you so much happiness. It could be something related to art, play, pleasure, and then you make money from whatever it is. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest that you place too much value on being adored by other people for your creations. Yes. So bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful for you. And if Taurus or Libra rule the fifth house cusp for you, you may relate to some of the information that I just said. But what you want to do is you want to locate where Venus is within the chart and then think about how that relates back to the fifth house. Okay. All right, let's now turn our attention to Venus in the sixth house individuals. If you have Venus in the sixth house, your working life and your daily rituals are shaped by your appreciation for routine, order, productivity, and being health conscious. Perhaps you value your job and what you do throughout your daily life. You value your services, the support that you provide, the help that you provide. You may also value your productivity. You may love to be productive. For me, the second I progress Venus is in the sixth house in my chart. It's in Aquarius. And my goodness, I really love what I do as my job. It brings me so much fulfillment, so much happiness. Now, for you as well, if you have Venus in the sixth house, you might be well liked by your coworkers, by your colleagues. And maybe this is because you come across as pleasant, you come across as diplomatic, as cooperative, kind. It's important to me, actually, when I think about other astrologers within my field, that there is this, this kindness present and support present, especially because Venus is in Aquarius there. I'm very much about community, but at the same time, my individuality is valuable to me too. Still, you might value the relationship you have with your coworkers, right? With your colleagues. Perhaps even having a pet is quite a pleasant experience. Maybe there's a love for pets. There's a love for animals here. I love animals. I do not have a pet, by the way, yet. I love cats. Maybe because cats can do their own thing. They're very independent. I also love dogs, by the way, I just want to say. Okay. You like to be of service to those you love. And seeking to take care of your body is also likely. You may be big into self-care, okay? Looking after your body. Your day job may also involve the likes of art, photography, beauty, fashion, the aesthetic stuff, graphics, design, these areas. Perhaps your diet often involves sweet things, something sweet. I relate to this so much. I think I have something sweet almost every day. No, not almost every day. Every day. I love it. Yes. Now, we want to think about the sign Venus is in because the sign is going to show you the how. So, as I was saying, for me, the secondary progressed Venus is in the sixth, but it's in Aquarius. So, I really enjoy my freedom and I do not like feeling confined in any way, shape, or form. But let's say Venus is in Gemini in the sixth house. You may relate there to this not wanting to be confined. Maybe you prefer to switch things up often. Maybe you're constantly multitasking when it comes to how you earn a living. Maybe you're constantly upskilling. Maybe how you earn money, within your job, when it comes to your work. How you earn money is more so about marketing, research, advertising, reporting, these things. But then let's say Venus is in Sagittarius, right? There could be travel as a part of your day job, or publishing, journalism. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest a lack of routine, possibly health issues due to overindulgence or overworking. So bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful. Plus, if you have either Taurus or Libra ruling the sixth house cusp in your chart, you may relate to some of the information that I just said. Perhaps especially if you've got Libra ruling the sixth house cusp, you relate to the sweet tooth thing, as previously mentioned. Still, locate Venus, okay? You want to locate where Venus is within the chart for more information about your routines and your daily habits and so on. Moving on then to Venus in the seventh house. All right, so if you have Venus in the seventh house, your relationships and partnerships are shaped by your appreciation for cooperation, teamwork, and working together. You value collaboration and support within your relationships. And at the same time, others can mirror the parts of you that can be dependent and people-pleasing. There is an unconscious part of you that wants to be liked. Okay? which be cautious of that. Still, because it can lead to people pleasing and codependency. So just want to say that, as previously mentioned. Still, you do brilliantly in partnerships and business. Your client customer relationships feel valuable, right? And they, the very clients and customers you have may feel valued and worthy by you, right? Because of the services you provide or because of how well mannered you can be, how likable you can be. People may very well feel seen by you in this way. And perhaps you're quite popular. You're popular or you're well known. Others might very well admire your kindness, your thoughtfulness. Hey, if we want to think about the sign Venus is in, right? Because the Venus sign is going to show the how. So let's say Venus is in Libra, right? So you could be admired for your intellect, for how diplomatic you are, or because of how much you stand for justice. Perhaps business partnerships or the business partners you have are more law related, possibly fashion related, being within the fashion industry there. But then let's say, so we've done some of Aries, we've done a bit of Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. Let's go with Pisces again, okay? If Venus is in Pisces, maybe this is more so about being liked or admired for how empathetic you are, that compassion that you bring. And perhaps even business, the business stuff, business partners, teamwork, working together, cooperation, this stuff is really linked to the likes of art, music, spirituality. So yes, the sign is going to show the how here. And then the house is the where. And in terms of where you love, there could very well be a love for partnership, a love for union. You could be someone who has, again, we go back to Venus and Libra, you could be all about, okay, I want to get married one day. Naturally, you do want to think about the bigger picture because, Saturn could tell a different story there. Uranus could tell a different story. But then, hey, let's say Venus is in Aquarius. Yeah, you may actually be like, no, I don't want to get married. You're not so big on that. But then Venus in Capricorn could suggest, yes, you do, because you're big on tradition. So yes, think about the bigger picture. Think about the sign. And in terms of money, you could very well earn a living via business, via mediating, counseling, hey, retail, sales. And I also further want to mention that disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest placing your value into the hands of others. So therefore, bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful. Naturally, if Taurus or Libra are on the descendant, if they're on the 7th house there, you may relate to some of the information that I just said. But of course, with the Taurus side of things, it's going to be a lot more to do with materials and resources. If it's Libra, it's going to be a lot more to do with the partnership stuff, the teamwork stuff. But you also want to locate Venus. Where is Venus within the chart? And then bring it back to the 7th house. Okay, let's now move on to Venus in the 8th house. If you have Venus in the 8th house, your transformations and your intimate relationships are shaped by your desires for intimacy, emotional bonding, and trust. You value honesty, possibly eroticism, and feeling a strong connection. You don't take your relationships lightly, but you also possess powerful emotions within them. Now, power struggles and destructive behaviors and psychological issues are tied to the past here. Close and meaningful relationships can trigger your subconscious, but they also contribute to your transformations. Experiencing intense bonds can reshape your deeper desires and values. So for you, relationships can really act as a catalyst for change. So, as I was saying previous, with the sign Venus is in, this is going to show the how. So let's say Venus is in Gemini in the 8th house. Relationships acting as that catalyst for change is more of a mental thing. Mental shifts, communication shifts, intellectual and communicative transformations when it comes to partnership. But then let's say that Venus is in Aries. Perhaps the catalyst for change stuff tied to relationships is more so tied to, well, sex, your sex drive, or maybe thinking about your passions. Anger could also be something important here. Now, when we think about love, then there could be this love for intimacy. I think if anything, it is about a bond. And I think if you have Venus in the 8th house, it doesn't really matter what sign it's in. It's still about that intimacy. It's still about having that emotional bond and gaining that trust. Yes, and still valuing the honesty as well, like I was saying, when it comes to partnerships. Now, in terms of money, though, you could very well earn money via a psychological, something psychological. It could be a psychological profession. It could be via management. It could be about managing other people's money, other people's resources. And possibly this could look like your partner having a good bit of money, and then there's some type of union there. You could even very well so money could be passed on to you basically through an inheritance, because the 8th house rules inheritances and other people's resources. So yeah, you could benefit from other people's resources essentially if you have Venus in the 8th house. Okay. Disharmonious aspects to your Venus, however, can suggest that you're controlling or you're demanding. And if you have Taurus or Libra ruling the 8th house cusp, you may relate to some of the information that I just said there, but of course you want to locate where Venus actually is within the chart. Even just following on from this point, right? We were saying about the eroticism, valuing eroticism and having this strong connection. I mean, Venus could be in Taurus in the 8th house, and maybe sensuality is really heightened there. You could very well earn money from, being a spa specialist or an sex specialist, right? And maybe that involves connecting with the body, right? There's that sensual piece here. Okay, let's now move on to Venus in the 9th house. If you have Venus in the 9th house, your beliefs and your worldviews are shaped by your love for travel, discovery, philosophy, and asking the bigger questions in life. You could very well earn money via travel. This could literally be how you earn money. So working within the travel industry, or just basically a job where you get to travel. You also value your higher education, you value knowledge, experiencing the world, being adventurous, you value opportunity. The world is your oyster. Venus in the 9th house individuals. Maybe you have a love for a certain culture or a certain country, right? There is a particular destination that you just go back to time and time again, and you love it. You may appreciate new ways of life. And it's also possible that you meet partners and friends whilst traveling, right? You could very well start a relationship whilst you're at university. You can meet the love of your life at university. You can meet the love of your life whilst you're traveling to Thailand or somewhere. Maybe this is where we get into astrocartography a little bit there, but you get the point. And your higher education may very well be tied to, travel, law, religion, journalism. You might enjoy publishing, you might enjoy broadcasting, and you also value relationships. You may value relationships where, someone is a mentor, someone is an instructor. You could get on really well with professors, mentors, what have you. Naturally, we do want to think about the sign. So the sign is going to show the how. So if Venus is in Virgo, for instance, there could be a greater focus on service. There could be a greater focus on maybe health, diet, fitness, or helping others. Maybe helping others through a travel program or through some sort of educational program, maybe studying nursing at university, just as an example there. Or let's say Venus is actually in Sagittarius. I mean, you may be big on learning and continuously expanding your mind and traveling. You could be here, there, and everywhere. There's just this love, there's this enthusiasm for travel like no other. Maybe you become a professor, right? That's how you earn money, is from you being a mentor, you being a professor of some kind. And just in general, overall, when it comes to earning money, you could earn money from teaching, right? Being a teacher, being some type of guide. And then again, it depends on that sign, because Venus in Aries could be about, you actually earn money being a coach, possibly. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest difficulties seeing the positive, and there can be difficulties here when it comes to your meaning. So lacking meaning, lacking direction. So bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful for you. Naturally, if you have Taurus or Libra ruling the 9th house cusp, you may relate to some of what I just said there. But what you also want to do is you'll want to locate where Venus actually is within your chart. So I know for myself, right? Taurus rules the 9th house cusp in my chart. And I would say that, yes, I earn money via my teachings, thinking about what I do on here, okay? But then I want to make things practical with Taurus there. It's more practical, it's more earthy. Really grinding things within reality, essentially. And then Venus is in the 5th house in my chart. So I could look at this as my creations being a big factor. But then with Venus being in the 4th house, according to the Placidus system, I could look at this via working from home. Yes, so make sure that you locate where Venus is for more information. Let's now turn our attention to Venus in the 10th house. Individuals. If you have Venus in the 10th house, your greatest accomplishments and your reputation are shaped by your desires for public recognition, success, social status, and career satisfaction. You value your public image, your reputation, liking your profession as well. You value that. and being seen by members of authority. Being even seen as an expert, being a professional yourself. Yes. Now, again, this is where we want to think about the sign Venus is in, because the sign is going to show the how. So let's say Venus is in Gemini. Where you seek to be a professional is within something communicative, right? Your profession may involve articulating yourself, conveying information, sharing it, connecting the dots, sales, marketing, research, juggling a few different roles at one time. Or if Venus is in Leo, then perhaps these matters are more so tied to performance, your creativity, being a leader, being a manager, being a boss, a director, a creative director, for instance. Still, you are great at collaborating and working together with other professionals within your role. And you may be well liked, actually, right? Well liked by those other professionals because of how diplomatic you can be, how likable you can be, and you seek to be seen as attractive and talented. You also show dedication when it comes to the likes of, could be fashion, design, socializing, beauty, art. Yes, your career could very well involve these things. But again, we want to think about the sign. So, I mean, yeah, if Venus is in the likes of, let's say, Libra or Pisces, perhaps your career, your profession, these things really do involve like art, creativity, and especially in the case of Pisces, this is more fantasy related. But then in the case of Libra, there could be elements of law involved there, being a mediator involved there, a counselor, perhaps. So basically, when it comes to earning, when it comes to money, I think that overall, hey, this is about the long haul. This is about really making something of yourself, because this is the 10th house. Perhaps putting in a lot of work, a lot of effort in order to gain resources, materials, and so on. And you can influence society with your style, with your charm. Yes, maybe you're well liked and you are respected. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest rivalry and jealousy within your career. Not necessarily saying that you're the one who's jealous. It could be that other people feel that toward you, possibly. Still, bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful. And I would even just say here quickly that I think there is this love for success. Truly, right? You want to be successful, or there is this love in terms of really enjoying what you do professionally. You need to enjoy it. You need to love it. But hey, at the same time, you may also recognize that there are certain elements of it that you don't necessarily love, but it's worth it. When you balance it out, it's still so worth it. Now, if Taurus rules the 10th house cusp, or the midheaven is in Taurus, or if Libra rules the 10th house cusp, or the midheaven is in Libra, you may relate to some of what I just said there. But of course, you'll want to locate where is Venus? Where is Venus within the chart? Because by locating Venus, it's going to provide more information there to that 10th house. So thinking about your career and your reputation. Moving on to Venus in the 11th house. Okay, if you have Venus in the 11th house, your friendships and your hopes for the future are shaped by your appreciation for group collaboration, challenging authority, standing for human rights, and social freedom. You value genuine social connections, networking, and creating positive change within society. Perhaps you are well known within your communities, within your teams, or your social movements. You know what? You could very well be the group organizer. You can be an event organizer, an event planner. And maybe you are idealistic about friendships and unity. Perhaps you're even a part of an artistic or creative group. That is a possibility. And typically, you prefer friends and partners who share similar views regarding the future. You also bring a friendly and a cooperative attitude to the groups you join. Maybe you're big on, I just want people to get along. I want to feel a connection here with people. And maybe this is also important to you when it comes to any company that you're a part of, any organization you join, a firm that you're involved with, right? So if, hey, you can sense, for instance, that there is injustice or that things are a bit strange or shady and people are not being honest, things are not very cooperative in this regard, I think you can be big on, okay, well, that's not very healthy, that's not working for you. But still, I think when it comes to the love stuff related to Venus here, there is a love for friendship, togetherness. There's a love for collaboration, to be involved within a club or a group, and there is that community feel, right? And everyone's doing their part, and you value everybody's part, but you also enjoy it when your part is valued just as much, and you can sense if anything would be off balance there. Yes. Now, when we think about the sign, so the sign is going to show the how. Well, if Venus is in Aquarius, this stuff that I mentioned may be extra potent. It's like, yes, you're big on social change, you're big on human rights, you're big on, okay, I really want to make a difference here within society. There is that love there. Possibly even raising money, right? You can raise money for charities, for causes, for certain movements. Even if you have Venus in the 11th house, just overall, this is where the money stuff comes in, right? It's like you may do fundraisers or get people to sign petitions, whatever. This is where we see your contributions. You could decide to get everybody together and to get money there. And also, you could earn money via public speaking, earning money via organizing, the group organizing, the event organizing stuff that I was just mentioning previously. But then again, with the sign, I mean, if Venus is in Leo in the 11th house, then this stuff could be, hey, you earning money via some drama club, or you earning money via working with children. Okay, there's a group dynamic there. You possibly being a leader there. Or let's say Venus is in, let's go with Virgo. There could be the earning potential when it comes to a niche, right? A very specific niche that you have. So there's the money side there. But you also bring your artistic gifts too. However, disharmonious aspects to your Venus can suggest rivalry and competition within social situations. Okay. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be you. I mean, it could be that certain people within the group try competing with you and you can sense that. Still, bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful. Plus, if Taurus or Libra is ruling the 11th house cusp within your chart, you may relate to some of the information that I just said, but you also want to locate where Venus is. Okay, where is Venus within the chart for more information and bring it back to the 11th house. Lastly, let's focus on Venus in the 12th house. If you have Venus in the 12th house, your spirituality and your hidden self are shaped by your love for relaxation, stillness, switching off, and escaping your everyday life. Maybe you truly value your spiritual practices, being charitable, recharging, and spending time in solitude. I just want to say here, as someone who has Venus and Neptune the same degree in my chart, of course, Neptune has that spirituality feel to it. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but I do relate to that information. I relate to valuing my alone time, my solitude. Still, you can be creative, artistic, and musical behind the scenes. Maybe being behind the scenes on your own, in your own company, that is really where you glow, and that is even where you feel the most comfortable, okay? And so much just pours out of you, and it's so poetic and it's so beautiful. And whilst you don't consider yourself to be super attached to the material world, you might secretly be addicted to spending, eating, or shopping. Now, again, we want to think about the sign Venus is in, because the sign is going to show the how. So Venus could be in Taurus, heightening what I just said, right? With the spending, eating, etc., shopping. There could be certain addictions there. But then let's say Venus is in, let's go with Scorpio. There could be some addictive tendencies here related to sex. If you have Venus in Scorpio, the alone time stuff could just be more intensified, I guess. Then again, it could be that you do a lot of research and investigation behind the scenes. There's so much that comes out. And that's the thing about having Venus in the 12th house. There's a lot of, oh my goodness, just the endlessness of being very artistic and creative there behind the scenes, being really surprised even. I mean, Venus could be in Aquarius, and you really do surprise yourself with your creativity and really what pours out whenever you're alone. Relationships as well might be unobtainable. There could be something secretive about relationships too, or something hidden about relationships. Or maybe if we think about how, the 12th house shows the where in terms of love, maybe there's something about love that feels unobtainable to you. Perhaps there's something here about you not fully recognizing yourself when it comes to relationships, when it comes to love. And maybe this is also where we recognize the spirituality stuff being quite an important piece, playing an important role. And at the same time, you may be forgiving within relationships, very generous, very giving, but yet there could be many sacrifices that you make. And maybe this is where it's important to reflect and to do that spiritual work, right? The 12th house is so much about our spiritual selves and going within. So for you, if there is anything here about giving so much of yourself and maybe other people mistaking your kindness for weakness, this type of stuff, being walked over, anything like that, maybe this is where the inner stuff can be very supportive for you. Maybe you come to really learn how to pour into yourself in this regard. And disharmonious aspects to Venus can suggest the addictions to love, the addictions to validation, sacrificing your own values and desires for another. So, bringing awareness to these qualities can be helpful for you. Now, again, we do want to think about the sign that Venus is in. I mean, Venus could be in Gemini, for instance, and maybe for you, behind the scenes, there is a lot of chitter chatter that occurs. There's a lot of mental stuff that occurs when it comes to relationships. Maybe even with Venus in Gemini or Venus in Virgo, there could be the ruminating. There could be the and becoming so swept up in all of those thoughts that you have. And maybe this is also where it's quite useful to place that into the likes of, okay, you could journal, you could put that energy into really just learning about the things that you enjoy, the things that you love. And when it comes to how you earn money or where you earn money, really, well, the money side of things could be related to working within hospitals, working with people who have been shut out from society, working with addicts, patients, right? You could be a nurse, you could be a doctor, for instance, you could be a mental health professional, as another example here, or maybe as well, you could earn money via poetry. Poetry, your creations, your artwork, your photography, filmmaking, right? Earning money via filmmaking. Again, though, this is where the sign comes into it. For instance, Venus being in Leo could heighten this. It could be really about your creativity, right? Earning money for your creative projects. Or let's say Venus is in, let's go with Libra. There could be earning money via your poetry or photography. Venus in Taurus, this could be more food related, right? And so on that note, if Taurus or Libra are ruling the 12th house cusp for you, you may relate to some of the information that I just said. But what you want to do is you want to locate where Venus is within the chart. And just as a reminder, the Taurus side of Venus is more sensual, earthy, practical. The Libra side of Venus is more idealistic, it's more social, it's more diplomatic. But again, locate where Venus is and then find out more information and bring it back to the 12th house. Okay, everyone. So this has been Venus through the houses. Thank you all so much for watching. And again, a reminder, if you want to join the Patreon, you can do so. The links are in the description box. And I want to say thank you so much to my patrons over at Patreon for all of your support. That is us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. And if you really did enjoy this video today, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is just there, but no pressure. And I appreciate you watching. I hope that you have found your house, the information to be helpful. And with that, thank you again for watching. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, everyone.